Okay, this is section 1-1, expressions and formulas, on page 6 of the textbook. So, the first thing we're going to talk about today is the order of operations and how to evaluate those in an expression, and then we're going to use a formula. So when we're going to order the operations, the first step we need to do is look to see that we've evaluated expressions inside a grouping symbol, such as parentheses. So if we have open parentheses, 3 plus 4, close parentheses, we need to evaluate those first. So 3 plus 4, that would equal 7. So parentheses are first. But there's parentheses, there's brackets, there's braces, and you will see those as well. And fraction bars. And in fraction bars, what they're talking about is if you have 5 plus 7 all over 4, you want to evaluate what's on that numerator first, because it's almost like there's parentheses around that 5 plus 7. So we would say 5 plus 7 is 12, so 12 over 4. So you evaluate that first. So that's what we do for parentheses, brackets, and braces. Grouping symbols. So step 2. We need to evaluate all powers. So that would be like 3 to the 4th power. So once we've taken care of all of our parentheses, brackets, grouping symbols, then we evaluate a power, such as 3 to 4 or 2 to the 2nd power, which is 4. Third step. Then we move to all of the multiplication, and or division. So then we evaluate those. And finally, the last step is to do all of our additions and subtraction. Again, to recap, we start with all of our grouping symbols, parentheses, brackets, and braces. Then we move on to our powers, our exponents. And then we do all of our multiplication and or division and all of our addition and subtraction. Okay, so now let's look at example 1. This is also on page 6 of your textbook. It says, simplify an expression. So we're starting with open bracket, 2, open parentheses, 10 minus 4, close parentheses, raised to the 2nd power, plus 3, close bracket, divided by 5. So when we're looking at this, we have brackets and parentheses. So the first thing we need to do is evaluate what's inside the innermost grouping symbol. So in this case, we have 10 minus 4. So we know 10 minus 4 is 6. So we end up with open bracket, 2, open parentheses, 6, close parentheses, squared, plus 3, close bracket, divided by 5. Okay, so now we've evaluated what's inside of that parentheses. The next is to look at what's inside that bracket. We have 2 open parentheses, and we know 2 next to parentheses indicates multiplication. So 2 times 6 raised to the 2nd power plus 3 is what we have inside. So starting evaluating. So now we have to look again. Okay, inside of there, the highest order we have to do is evaluate our exponent. 6 to the 2nd power. So then we need to take care of that. So we have open bracket, 2 times 6 raised to the 2nd power is 36, plus 3. Okay, I'll divide it by 5. But we're not done yet, because we still have stuff inside of our parentheses to do. So we have 2 times 36 plus 3. Order of operations, then we take care of our multiplication and division. 2 times 36, 72. So then we have 72 plus 3, 75. So now we have, open bracket, 75, close bracket, divided by 5. Or we can just say 75 divided by 5. And then when we divide 75 by 5, we get an answer of 15. Okay, so again, let's look at our textbook on page 7. So let's talk about a variable. Variables are symbols, usually letters, to represent unknown expressions. So variable can be a y, or an x, or an n, or an s. It doesn't matter. You can use whatever you want. And we have something called an algebraic expression. So it's an expression that has at least one variable. 3x, that's an expression, an algebraic expression. 6x plus 9, another algebraic expression. So looking at example 2 on page 7, this whole example is in your book, so let's go through that. And if you need to, pause the video and find it, and then hit resume play, so you have the example right in front of you while we're going through this. So we have x squared minus y, open parentheses, x plus y, close parentheses, is our expression. And then it says if x equals 8 and y equals 1.5. Okay, so first thing we need to do is telling us what our x and our y values are. So we need to substitute those in. So if we have x squared minus y, open, x plus y. When we throw our numbers in, let's substitute all of our x's in first. So we have x squared, x equals 8. So then we have 8 squared minus, well, then we have our y, which is 1.5. So we have x squared minus y, or 8 squared minus 1.5, open parentheses, x, which is 8, plus y, which is 1.5. 1.5, close parentheses. So now we have 8 squared minus 1.5, open parentheses, 8 plus 1.5. And using our order of operations, we know we need to do what's inside of the parentheses first. So we have 8 squared minus 1.5, open, 8 plus 1.5 is 9.5, close parentheses. So now we have an 8 squared minus 1.5. Okay, we have an exponent. That means we need to evaluate that next. 8 squared is 64, minus 1.5, open, 9.5, close parentheses. Again, 1.5 with next to a parentheses indicates multiplication. So that's our next step, multiplication. So we have 64 minus 1.5 times 9.5, and that's 14.25. So we have 64 minus 14.25. And then we do last our subtraction. So 64 minus 14.25 would give us 49.75. So the value for this expression is 49.75. Okay. This again, page 7, towards the bottom of the page. So this time we're going to use an expression containing a fraction bar. So if we have the expression a cubed plus 2bc all over c squared minus 5, if a equals 2, b equals negative 4, and c equals negative 3. So we need to do the same thing. We need to plug those numbers in for a, or b, and our c. So starting at the top, we have a cubed, and a equals 2. So we have 2 cubed plus 2bc. So 2 times and I'm using open parentheses. So 2 open parentheses, -4, close parentheses, open parentheses, c, which is negative, close parentheses. All of that over c squared. C is -3, so we have -3 squared minus 5. And if you remember, we need to start evaluating. We do our numerator first and then our denominator with the fraction bar. So looking at the order of operations, we start out with grouping symbols and then we go to exponents. So we have 2 raised to the 3rd power. So 2 times 2 times 2, or 8. So we have 8 plus 2 times -4 times -4. Okay, so we have a plus sign there. So we need to first do our multiplication. 2 times -4 times -3. And that would be 8 plus -8 times -3. So 2 times -4 is -8 times -3 is 24, because 2 negatives multiplied together make a positive. So now I have 8 plus 24 all over. Okay. Denominator, we have -3 squared minus 5. So we do our power first. -3 raised to the second power is -3 times -3, or positive 9, minus 5. So now we have our numerator at 8 plus 24 over 9 minus 5. Let's do our numerator first. 8 plus 24 is 32 over 9 minus 5, which is 4. So now we have 32 over 4. Simplify. So 4 goes into 32 8 times. So 32 over 4 is 8. So when we evaluate this, we have an answer of 8. Last, let's look at formulas. So we're on page 8. Formula. Formula is a mathematical sentence that expresses a relationship between certain quantities. If you know the value of every variable in the formula except one, you can find the value of the remaining variable. So example 4, let's talk geometry. So the formula for the area A of a trapezoid is A equals 1/2 h open B1 plus B2 close parentheses. So h represents our height, and B1 and B2 represent the measures of the bases. So we have a trapezoid. In the book, you have a trapezoid. I'm going to draw it here too. We have the perimeter, and the top side is labeled as 16 inches. And towards the right, we have a vertical dashed line, and at the bottom of that line is a box. That indicates a right angle, and that dashed line is at 10 inches in height. That's how tall our trapezoid is. And then our base side is 52 inches. So we know quite a bit. So let's substitute what we know in here. If we have area equals 1/2 times the height, open parentheses, B1 plus B2 close. So A equals 1/2, and we know our height because that was at 10 inches. So 1/2, open parentheses, 10, close parentheses, that's our height, open parentheses, now B1. B1 is our base one, which is actually the top of the trapezoid. That's that horizontal side. So we know that is 16 inches. So base 2, B2, is the bottom. So we need to multiply that to the rest of it. Oh, sorry, we need to add it to. So let's start this again. We have A equals 1/2 open, 10, close parentheses, open parentheses, 16 plus 52, close parentheses. So we have our 1/2 times our height times our 2 horizontal sides of our trapezoid. First things first, order of operations. Inside grouping symbols first. We have a 16 plus a 52. So 16 plus 52 gives us 68. So now we have area equals 1/2 open 10 close parentheses open parentheses 68 close parentheses. Now we have all multiplication. We have 1/2 times 10 times 68. So let's do the 1/2 times 10 first. We have area equals 1/2 times 10. That's 5. Now we have 5 times 68. And 5 times 68 is 340. So the area of this trapezoid is 340 square inches. If you have any confusion, please rewatch the video again and re-listen to and re-follow along if you have any questions. And come to class tomorrow prepared with questions or